Hello everyone. Today we'll be talking about software. As in the previous lecture, we studied and we heard about hardware. So just recall it. What is a hardware? Hardware is a device which you can touch physically. But to run a hardware, we need certain instructions which are to be given to that hardware so that it can perform. So for that purpose, we need softwares. So let's understand what is a software. Software are the set of programs which on execution delivers the desired outcome. Softwares cannot be touched or cannot be felt. They are inside the hardware, but they play a very important part as they govern the hardware. Through softwares, you are giving instructions to the system or to a particular hardware to do a particular task. Softwares are very important because if you are not giving any instruction to a particular hardware, it will never work. So to make your hardware operational, to make your hardware run, we need software. And what are software? Software are the set of programs or set of instructions. Now let's understand what is a program. Like if we make a small program of adding two numbers, what is happening? You are adding two numbers, you are writing certain instructions through which your hardware will perform that particular operation. So when we combine small programs and make it a bigger one, that becomes a software which is doing more than one task. So what is a software? Software is inside your system, which you cannot touch, but holds very important position as it is the one which is running your hardware. Let's see what are different types of software. First is system software, second is utility software, third is application software. So what is a system software? System softwares are basically the softwares which closely work with hardwares. They perform system operations like managing the hardware, managing the memory, managing different file managements, managing different peripheral devices attached to it. So any software which is directly working with a hardware are system softwares. Examples are operating system, system utilities, language processors. So what is an operating system? Operating system acts as an interface between user and machine. What it means? Your machine works on binary language. What is binary language? 0-1 language. It is also called as machine language. So our system works on that. But as a user, as a human being, it is very difficult for me to instruct any system in 0-1 form. As you see your computers, what you see, it is in English or in a particular language, which a user can understand. But that language is not understandable by the system. So there is an interface, there is an intermediary system which is converting our particular language to system understandable and system understandable to our language. And that is an operating system. It operates the computer. It takes care of the files where you have saved it, from where you need it is to be picked, assigning the memory. Like if we have opened certain programs, then how much memory is assigned to whom? Like if we press Control or Delete, it stops all other operations and brings to you the task manager. So all these things, to whom priority is to be given, what all operations are governing the hardware running in the back end. So all of these things are governed and operated by operating system. So operating system is one of the most important software in your system. It is the one which gets loaded when your system starts. So to operate on a particular hardware, we need operating system. Different companies make different, have their own different operating systems like Windows. Microsoft has Windows. Windows are different versions, 8, 7, 10. Linux is another one, which is open source operating system. Macintosh is of Apple. Ubuntu, Fedora, Android is of Google. iOS works on Apple phones. So these are different examples of operating systems. Next comes language processors. Language processors are responsible for converting any particular language code to machine language. We have three language processors. First is assembler. Assembler is a software which converts assembly language code to machine language. So assembler is assigned only to perform particular task, that is to convert assembly language to machine language. Next comes interpreter. It translates one line at a time instead of whole document in one go. Like if we talk about compiler and interpreter, they both are doing same work, but they have different strategies. Compiler and interpreter both translates high level language to low level language. Now, what are high level languages? C, C++, Java. These are different languages which comes under high level category. And low level language is machine language or binary language. So both are converting those particular languages, high level languages, to low level language. But they have different way of doing it. That is why we have two. So interpreter translates one line at a time. And if it finds any error in a particular line, it stops the conversion or translation there and then. So it will shoot an error. You need to rectify it. Then it will perform the translation operation to other code written. But compiler is fast. What it does, it converts whole program in one go and displays the errors at last. So what compiler does, it converts the program in machine language. If it finds certain errors in it, it will display those errors at the end of compilation and with end of compilation with the line numbers. So compiler is advanced, but there are certain places where we use interpreter and there are certain places where we use compiler. In Java, we use both. So Java is a language which is using compiler and interpreter. So in your higher education, you'll be learning about Java. There you'll find that the Java compilation process comprises of interpreter and compiler both. Next comes utility softwares. Utility softwares are small softwares which perform a certain task and they are directly attached to your hardware. So they are used for maintenance and configuration of the computer system, like disk defragmentation tool. I don't know how many of you have used or you know disk defragmenter. Disk defragmenter, what it does, like whenever you are storing your files in a hardware, they are not getting stored at a particular place. Wherever a system finds place, it stores your files in those particular areas. So they can be all together or maybe scattered in the hardware system. So whenever it is being called, whenever you are executing a particular file or you want that particular file, the fragmented parts are taken from different parts of the memory, which takes time. So if I put all the pages at particular place and if I scatter them, then from where you'll be finding it easier to collect them. Of course, where they are kept together. So likewise, but in your system, computer doesn't take care of doesn't take care that they are to be stored at a particular place. If they get ample memory space at a altogether, then it will put it there. Otherwise, they are fragmented and stored at different scattered locations. So whenever you are loading that particular file, it takes that those fragments and collects them from different places and then makes that file. So that thing takes time. So just to reduce that, we run this utility called disk defragmentation tool. What it does, it performs operation like collecting them together and storing them in a particular place. This is what disk defragmenter do. Next is system restore utility. Like whenever your system crashes, your operating system makes restores utility. What it does, it stores the particular setting of your system time to time. So whenever your system crashes, it tries to bring back to the previous restored position. That is the function of system restore utility. Antivirus software, everyone knows what it does. It takes care of your hardware so that certain software, so that viruses, worms, Trojan horse should not get entered in your system. So basically, what is the difference between virus, worm, and Trojan horse? As the name has come here, so we can discuss that as well. This is just for your knowledge. Viruses are the softwares which deletes the important files from your system. Important files can be a file from an operating system. So if certain files get deleted, your system crashes. That is the work of a virus. Now, what is a worm? Worm are the softwares which do not harm your system. What they does, they replicate themselves. They'll make copies of themselves just to eat up your memory. Trojan horse. Trojan horse are the softwares which are very much in these days. Generally, now the hackers, spies don't send viruses to your system; they send Trojan horse. And generally, these Trojan horse comes with the free softwares which we generally download. They get activated as soon as you execute that particular program, and they come along with it. And what they does, they don't do anything. They don't delete your file. They don't replicate themselves. But what they do, they spy your system and send the sensitive information to the outsider world. So these days, Trojan horse are being used to spy your systems or to take information from your system. Next comes application software. Application softwares are the softwares which are made to perform certain tasks. Whatever software we are using in our system are application softwares. They are made to perform certain things so that it can make our work easier. We have two types of our application softwares. One is generalized, general purpose softwares. So these are the softwares which are you made to cater big audiences. Big audience means like a software made by Microsoft, that is MS Office. What it is doing, it has made a general software, general editing software, general presentation software, or an Excel software, which is having which are having so many utilities under it. Like you can add, delete, they are giving you so many functions. But have we used them in all? No. We are using some part, other people are using some part, but what they have done, they have made a particular software which can cover bigger audience, bigger users. They are called ready-made softwares. Why they are ready-made softwares? Because certain, let's take an example. You want to get a trouser stitched, or you take a trouser from a particular store. What is the difference? When you're going to a particular store and taking a ready-made trouser, they have put in certain standard measurements that with a particular waist, these standard measurements go on. They have long lengths. We alter them, right? So what they are doing, they are covering all the people who have same waistline, but they don't have same structure. So ready-made softwares cover entire audience, but there are drawbacks in it. Drawbacks like we are not utilizing all the functionalities of it. So if we are paying for them, then they are waste for us. If we are not using certain functionalities of, let's say, MS Word, and we have paid software, which Indians generally don't take. But still, if we are buying the genuine softwares and we are paying for the whole, and we are only using 50%, so our 50% amount is wasted. That is why general purpose softwares are ready-made softwares, and we or the users are not utilizing it to the optimum. Like if we talk about web browsers, or if we talk about Adobe Photoshop or any other software, Tele, if we talk about CorelDRAW, they all are general purpose softwares. So the bigger companies like Microsoft, Adobe, they bring out their products. Those products are for general people, everyone. So they come out with all the possible functionalities they can put in that particular software. Those softwares are general purpose softwares. Next category is customized softwares. Customized softwares are designed or made or developed for a particular organization. Like if I have a company to run and I want a software for my company, I'll be putting in certain functionalities that I want this. I don't want anything else. So a company will be, or the developers or the computer programmers will be catering to my needs and will be making a software which will be having functionalities just what I want. So they are called tailor-made softwares. Like if I want to get a trouser stitched, I'll go to a tailor, it will take the measurement and it will make it according to my requirement, which is more, which will be more appropriate for my, according to my body. So likewise, the softwares which are made for a particular organization are called customized softwares. So generally in India, the software companies which we have are working on customized softwares. They are catering to the services. They are catering their services to the companies, and they provide the softwares which they need according to their requirement. Like if we talk about school management software, so every school has different requirements. Yes, of course there are certain requirements which are common in them, but if I want that software to be made according to me, I can make that certain changes in those softwares so that it can be according to my choice and my requirement. Accounting softwares, these softwares are also the customized softwares which we can make or which we can ask companies to make according to our requirement. So the difference between generalized and customized softwares are, generalized softwares are made for larger people. They are the companies put in common functionalities which can be used by large mass. Customized softwares put in the functionalities according to the requirement of a particular person or a company. Generalized softwares are called ready-made softwares, which uses uh, standard specifications, standard functionalities to cover most of the people. Customized softwares are tailor-made softwares which governs or which cater to the requirements of a particular company. So they tailor-made it. Okay. So this kind of brings us to the end of the software topic. I'll be providing you the notes along with this. Do read it, and thank you.